Folks are usually about as happy as they make their minds up to be. Whatever you are, be a good one. To remain as I am is impossible. I must die or be better, it appears to me. America will never be destroyed from the outside. If we falter and lose our freedoms, it will be because we destroyed ourselves. My best friend is a person who will give me a book I have not read. My concern is not whether God is on our side, my greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right. I'm a success today because I had a friend who believed in me and I didn't have the heart to let him down. Books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new after all. When I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. That's my religion. Those who deny freedom to others, deserve it not for themselves. I am a slow walker, but I never walk back. Whenever I hear anyone arguing for slavery, I feel a strong impulse to see it tried on him personally. There are no bad pictures, that's just how your face looks sometimes. I can see how it might be possible for a man to look down upon the earth and be an atheist, but I cannot conceive how a man could look up into the heavens and say there is no God. Those who look for the bad in people will surely find it. I don't like that man. I must get to know him better. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. I am not bound to win, but I am bound to be true. I am not bound to succeed, but I am bound to live up to what light I have. Be sure you put your feet in the right place, then stand firm. You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time. I would rather be a little nobody, than to be a evil somebody. I have been driven many times upon my knees by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go. My own wisdom and that of all about me seemed insufficient for that day. All that I am or ever hope to be, I owe to my angel mother. Character is like a tree and reputation its shadow. The shadow is what we think it is and the tree is the real thing. Always bear in mind that your own resolution to succeed is more important than any one thing. The best way to predict your future is to create it. We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies. Though passion may have strained, it must not break our bonds of affection. The mystic chords of memory will swell when again touched, as surely they will be, by the better angels of our nature. I laugh because I must not cry, that is all, that is all. Tact, the ability to describe others as they see themselves. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. Elections belong to the people. It's their decision. If they decide to turn their back on the fire and burn their behinds, then they will just have to sit on their blisters. I will prepare and someday my chance will come. The best thing about the future is that it comes one day at a time. No man has a good enough memory to be a successful liar. My father taught me to work, but not to love it. I never did like to work, and I don't deny it. I'd rather read, tell stories, crack jokes, talk, laugh, anything but work. I have always found that mercy bears richer fruits than strict justice. If you once forfeit the confidence of your fellow citizens, you can never regain their respect and esteem. It is true that you may fool all of the people some of the time, you can even fool some of the people all of the time. All I have learned, I learned from books. Things may come to those who wait, but only the things left by those who hustle. I care not for a man's religion whose dog and cat are not the better for it. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. Every man's happiness is his own responsibility. I am in favor of animal rights as well as human rights. That is the way of a whole human being. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. It's not me who can't keep a secret. It's the people I tell that can't. The Lord prefers common-looking people. That is why He made so many of them. It has been my experience that folks who have no vices have very few virtues. You have to do your own growing no matter how tall your grandfather was. You cannot help people permanently by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves. You can tell the greatness of a man by what makes him angry. If this is coffee, please bring me some tea. But if this is tea, please bring me some coffee. I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. The great point is to bring them the real facts, and beer. It is difficult to make a man miserable while he feels worthy of himself and claims kindred to the great God who made him. I am not concerned that you have fallen. I am concerned that you arise. The better part of one's life consists of his friendships. To ease another's heartache is to forget one's own. The probability that we may fail in the struggle ought not to deter us from the support of a cause we believe to be just. I don't know who my grandfather was. I am much more concerned to know what his grandson will be. Achievement has no color. When I get ready to talk to people, I spend 2/3 of the time thinking what they want to hear and 1/3 thinking about what I want to say. 77 years ago our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Be with a leader when he is right, stay with him when he is still right, but leave him when he is wrong. I do the very best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing so until the end. No matter how much the cats fight, there always seem to be plenty of kittens. The Bible is not my book nor Christianity my profession. I could never give assent to the long, complicated statements of Christian dogma. We should be too big to take offense and too noble to give it. I have come to the conclusion never again to think of marrying, and for this reason, I can never be satisfied with anyone who would be blockhead enough to have me. If there is anything that links the human to the divine, it is the courage to stand by a principle when everybody else rejects it. The ballot is stronger than the bullet. You can have anything you want if you want it badly enough. You can be anything you want to be, do anything you set out to accomplish if you hold to that desire with singleness of purpose. The greatest fine art of the future will be the making of a comfortable living from a small piece of land. My great concern is not whether you have failed, but whether you are content with your failure. As I would not be a slave, so I would not be a master. This expresses my idea of democracy. Hypocrite, the man who murdered his parents, and then pleaded for mercy on the grounds that he was an orphan. Honor to the soldier and sailor everywhere, who bravely bears his country's cause. Honor, also, to the citizen who cares for his brother in the field and serves, as he best can, the same cause. Die when I may, I want it said of me by those who knew me best, that I always plucked a thistle and planted a flower where I thought a flower would grow. Get books, sit yourself down anywhere, and go to reading them yourself. Don't criticize them, they are just what we would be under similar circumstances. If this country is ever demoralized, it will come from trying to live without work. Stand with anyone that is right, stand with him while he is right and part with him when he goes wrong. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and, under a just God, cannot retain it. Take all that you can of this book upon reason, and the balance on faith, and you will live and die a happier man. When a skeptic expressed surprise to see him reading a Bible. You cannot build character and courage by taking away people's initiative and independence. Let no feeling of discouragement prey upon you, and in the end you are sure to succeed. Determine that the thing can and shall be done, and then find the way. Those who write clearly have readers, those who write obscurely have commentators. My father taught me to work, he did not teach me to love it. Republicans are for both the man and the dollar, but in case of conflict the man before the dollar. Don't interfere with anything in the Constitution. That must be maintained, for it is the only safeguard of our liberties. We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution. Commitment is what transforms a promise into reality. Let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith let us, to the end, dare to do our duty as we understand it. That some achieve great success is proof to all that others can achieve it as well. In times like the present, men should utter nothing for which they would not willingly be responsible through time and eternity. A capacity, and taste, for reading, gives access to whatever has already been discovered by others. It is the key, or one of the keys, to the already solved problems. And not only so. It gives a relish and facility for successfully pursuing the unsolved ones. Force is all-conquering, but its victories are short-lived. If friendship is your weakest point, then you are the strongest person in the world. You can't make a weak man strong by making a strong man weak. You cannot lift the wage earner up by pulling the wage payer down. I believe the Bible is the best gift God has ever given to man. All the good from the Savior of the world is communicated to us through this book. A woman is the only thing I am afraid of that I know will not hurt me. A tendency to melancholy, let it be observed, is a misfortune, not a fault. Congressmen who willfully take action during wartime that damages morale and undermine the military are saboteurs and should be arrested, exiled, or hung. You cannot have the right to do what is wrong. Life is hard but so very beautiful. The philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation is the philosophy of government in the next. It often requires more courage to dare to do right than to fear to do wrong. I know there is a God, and that He hates injustice and slavery. I see the storm coming, and I know that His hand is in it. If He has a place and work for me, and I think He has, I believe I am ready. Don't worry when you are not recognized, but strive to be worthy of recognition. Nothing will divert me from my purpose. No man is good enough to govern another man without that other's consent. Women are the only people I am afraid of who I never thought would hurt me. Labor is prior to, and independent of, capital. Capital is only the fruit of labor, and could never have existed if labor had not first existed. Labor is the superior of capital, and deserves much the higher consideration. I don't like to hear cut and dried sermons. No, when I hear a man preach, I like to see him act as if he were fighting bees. If any man tells you he loves America, yet hates labor, he is a liar. If any man tells you he trusts America, yet fears labor, he is a fool. A friend is one who has the same enemies as you have. I have been driven many times to my knees by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go. Anybody will do for you, but not for me. I must have somebody. I like to see a man proud of the place in which he lives. I like to see a man live so that his place will be proud of him. Education does not mean teaching people what they do not know. It means teaching them to behave as they do not behave. In great contests each party claims to act in accordance with the will of God. Both may be, and one must be wrong. God cannot be for, and against the same thing at the same time. And in the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years. 'Tis better people think you a fool, than open your mouth and erase all doubt. I remember my mother's prayers and they have always followed me. They have clung to me all my life. I am nothing, truth is everything. If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. I do the very best I can, I mean to keep going. If the end brings me out all right, then what is said against me won't matter. If I'm wrong, 10 angels swearing I was right won't make a difference. It will not do to investigate the subject of religion too closely, as it is apt to lead to infidelity. Gentlemen, why do you not laugh? With the fearful strain that is upon me day and night, if I did not laugh, I should die. Never do anything for anyone who can just as well do it themselves. People who have no vices, have very few virtues. With educated people, I suppose, punctuation is a matter of rule, with me it is a matter of feeling. But I must say I have a great respect for the semicolon, it's a useful little chap. Truth is generally the best vindication against slander. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you're right. Most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. I am rather inclined to silence, and whether that be wise or not, it is at least more unusual nowadays to find a man who can hold his tongue than to find one who cannot. Well, I wish some of you would tell me the brand of whiskey that Grant drinks. I would like to send a barrel of it to my other generals. The leading rule for the lawyer, as for the man of every other calling, is diligence. Leave nothing for tomorrow which can be done today. I know not how to aid you, save in the assurance of one of mature age, and much severe experience, that you cannot fail, if you resolutely determine, that you will not. I never had a policy, I have just tried to do my very best each and every day.